people? Beef from My Radical Life. So what are we gonna do today? How about an oil change? So you'll have to excuse the mess back there. Still working on all that. Yeah. So we're gonna do an oil change on her. Now, there's a lot of debates over oil, and I think a lot of it is just personal preference. Stay on conventional, go to synthetic. I think really a huge majority of that is just going to be your personal preference and what you think, which is fine. Typically, when I got a bike, when I buy a bike from somebody, I'd always immediately, first thing, take it home, do an oil change, throw synthetic in it. I'm a big synthetic fan. Some guys say to stay on conventional so long. I know I took her in for her 600-mile change just because I wanted them to do it. They did put conventional in her. I haven't spoken to them since. I did go by and pick up oil. They gave me the Kawasaki 10W40 for the KLR, but they said that according to their tech specs they had behind the counter, that Kawasaki recommended going with the semi-synthetic. Is that good? You see that? Good shot? All right. So 10W40 semi-synthetic is what I went with. So really simple. Got the factory filter right here. It's got its own little canister. It fits in on the bike. This is the first one I've ever had that has a filter like this. Everything else I've had always screws on and off. Hi, kitty. So what do we need for it? We need a 17 millimeter for the, that's just a ratchet. 17 millimeter for the main oil pan plug down there, which is that honker beast down there. I am going to replace that with a low profile from Tusk before I do the BDR next spring. But I got to get this oil changed. She's sitting about 3,500 miles, and it's time. So I want to go ahead and get this done. And you need a little bitty 8 millimeter for the oil filter housing, which I'll show you where that is in just a minute. So I'm just going to use the the little oink oink on the wrenches, because the torque wrenches I had just drove off in the back of the car with my daughter. I'll tell you, one thing after another. The oil filter reservoir, or the oil filter cap, is 78 inch-pounds. You can check your owner's manual. If you divide that by 12, you get 6.5 pounds. The torque wrench wouldn't go that low, so I did find an inch-pound torque wrench to do 78 with. And then the bottom plug, I've heard all kinds of theories on that. 15 pounds, 17 pounds, 21 pounds. There is even a guy with a video out there that says 32. I would never put 32 pounds on that, being aluminum and aluminum threads. Never. But actually, according to the manual, it is 21. So since the torque wrenches drove off, we're just going to use the old Ooga Booga scale and the oinky boink and see. We should be able to get it snug. I've never used a torque wrench on an oil drain plug before, so hopefully this isn't a bad idea. So, oh, and one more thing, a small tripod, because otherwise you're not going to see jack of what I'm doing under there. All right, good. Hey, well, as you can see, we're down here, and that great big honker bolt right there, that's going to get replaced with a low profile bolt here probably after the first of the year, before I head out on that BDR, because I don't want to accidentally be going over something and, you know, hit that and shave it off or something. That would be no good. But it's that great big one right there. That's the oil drain, the oil plug. Oil. 17 millimeter. See how tight this baby is. Ooh, not very tight. Good deal. Not very tight at all. So, and I put my exam gloves on because I don't like getting oily. Most people say nitrile gloves, but I like exam gloves. Makes people wonder, what exactly are you doing with that bike, dude? Oh, look at that. And the oil's still a little cool. I thought I warmed it up a few more minutes than that, but I guess not. But it's a little warm. And it still has a mighty green hue to it, so that's good. It means it wasn't on its last leg. Because they told me it would go, the first one at 600 miles, and the next oil change at 4,000. Well, I'm sitting right at 3607, and I didn't want to wait. My first brand new bike, man, I didn't want to wait. I wanted to make sure it was all on time and copacetti. Yeah, all right. Now, let me take my dirty booty up here on top, and I'll see you there. Yeah. All right, so we're back on the passenger side of the bike. Passenger side of the bike? I'm on the other side, the brake side, the non-drive side. And this little cap right here, we're going to loosen that bad boy up. Just to give it a little breathy air. Just like that. And look, bam, clean gloves, just like magic. Magic. It's magic. So, our oil filter, right here, right behind this one. So, I'm gonna put a couple of paper towels right here. And I will tell you, there are two reasons for this. Well, if I can do it, okay, two reasons for this. First being, it's a brand new bike, and I don't want to get it all gunkified with oil. Two, if I don't put paper towels there, I'll get half a quart on the side of the bike. But typically, if I put paper towels there, I don't spill oil. Oh, I do need a screwdriver. There's a little tab right here that's got to kind of wedge that cover off a little bit with some. My knee. I'll be right back. Make sure we're going the right way. That's Lucy. And 8 millimeter. Yep, not on there very hard at all. Nope, not very tight at all. And oftentimes, you'll notice on motorcycles that even though you're undoing the same cover for like a certain component, some of the bolts may vary in length. But in this case, these two little rascal daskels are the same size. So we don't have to worry about sticking the wrong one in the wrong spot and trying to drill it home too hard. So now we take your screwdriver, and I did get a little piece of cloth because I want to get under here. It is a new bike, and I don't want to scratch it up. You do need a flathead screwdriver to pull that cover back off. I don't want to scratch up the new bike, so I don't want to get overly aggressive with it. Now, there is a case for aggressive women. I'm not saying every aggression is bad, but not in this case. There's a second little notch right back there you can feel. It just kind of pops that cover. It felt like it gave enough. Yep, there it goes. And out it comes. Oh, and see? This time my premonition came true. There was oil in there. Oh, and we got oil everywhere. Yay, go team. It's down in the pan now. Man, just what I did not want to do. Okay, I'm back. I think I'm done crying for now because I did spill oil on her. And I think it's because she's level on the bike stand and not leaned on her kickstand. But she held quite a bit of oil inside the filter housing, which that right there is what she looks like. And I always like to inspect the filter when it comes out, you know, just to make sure. And so I've been looking at this one, and there's not, I don't see any big chunks of metal or any, you know, I don't see any gasket material. I don't see any chunks of metal. I don't see, there's a few little tiny little sparklies in there, but that's okay. So now the factory filter. So the factory filter is identical on both ends. So you will notice on the one that came out of the engine, it was sitting in there this way with that dude facing in towards the engine. So we're going to take a tiny smidge of our oil, do our O-rings up. And we're just going to push that bypass tube on out. And we're going to put it straight into this one. I think it was about that far. Okay. Now it goes right straight back in. I don't know if you can see that or not. No. There it is. Okay, so it's going to go back in there, and we're going to feel it. When it goes back in, you'll feel it kind of recess back into that groove into the engine. It just felt like it set right back in there. I'm going to take this bad boy raw heel. We're going to check him. Make sure there's no anything that could get in the way of sealing up, which I do not see. And there is an arrow pointing upwards, so we know which way it goes back on the bike. you should be able to. Being an O-ring, we're probably gonna have to give it a little pop. There it goes. Right back in place. You guys still see what I'm doing? Yeah, good. And start this one in. I always like to turn left until I feel the threads drop. Then I go right. Make sure I always get them started nice and square. Don't want to strip a thing. Now I'm going to check this one for cleanliness. Go left, felt it click right off the bat. Now I'll go back right. Get it as finger tight as possible. And just a little. On the wrench, not much at all. Okay, I felt that side bottom out. That side bottomed out, so I'm just gonna go a little. It. There, no more than that. No move to the bottom. So now we're back to the fun part. Oh, I saved you the agony of me putting in the drain bolt. Okay, actually I forgot to turn on the camera. Either way, you'd have been bored. Same thing, just check the surface where the drain plug or the gasket is gonna sit. Check the threads, feel around there, run it in, hand tight, and then just a little bit on it. So now we do 2.1. I don't know how you figure the 0.1, I'll get there in a minute. Back in the bike. And know of all things, I don't have a funnel. I did it again. This just ain't my day. This just ain't my day. Golly. I've never been so sloppy on an oil change. Never have I ever been so sloppy on an oil change. I promise. You believe me, don't you? Dos. And 0.1, I'm not sure how we're gonna figure that. I guess just a dash. We'll see how that looks. Because we're going to put the cap back on and fire her up and let her run for a minute. Brothers, come on. Just like you're off-roading with me, huh? Alright, so let's fire her up and let her cycle for a few minutes. Yeah, I'm moving a refrigerator. So 2.1, that 0.1 was a little weird to calculate. So what I did was I just, you know, the oil is always filled up like into the neck. So what I did was I just left the bottle level. Like this. Then I just kept pouring until I could see it right there. And so far it looks good because we are halfway. That's where you want to be, between that mark and that mark. That's where she is. Right in between the two. I think next time I'm not going to do it on the stand. I think it might drain better if she's leaning on the kickstand. But there she is, all nice and done. Now this coming weekend, sorry about the thumb. This coming weekend, I'm going to show you a trick to cleaning this chain. Fast and easy. Makes cleaning it a lot easier than you know, doing it the way I grew up doing it. So that one's coming. But we look good here, so we're gonna call it good. More thumb, sorry about that. We'll see you guys later.